They were done before the dawn, doomed, in a sense, to never be witnessed as they truly were. They embodied shadows, collections of projections that gave them their presence. They lived through your worst fears. Consider this. It's appropriate to be concerned that you misunderstand and are being misled. Pause with this. Contemplate the fear, the terror at the heart of many people's insinuations about the future. And it gathers, it collects. It initially exists on different vibrations. Fights erupt between them because unbeknownst to them, these fears are really quite similar. Their patterns are not complex, though they seem to be the most intense things to those who live with them. And over time, subtle shifts transform inconsequential fights. They feel, yet again, very consequential, and yet they aren't. They never have been. Their true purpose has nothing to do with winning or losing. It has to do with collecting, slowly bending vibrations and rhythms until eventually all like-minded fears gather into smaller, tighter forms. And from this vantage, they're engaged. And they're engaged by beings who exist centered in their soul. They are centered in their relationship to the sun. They are not centered in the embodiment of the fear on earth. They never were. They did this as an act of service for countless generations. They offered their presence through these fears, the shadows. And it's a crucial gift to emerging civilizations that rise and fall in competitive urges and need something that's worse than they are. If they didn't have this, if they'd never had this, you would not have been able to conceive of hope. You would have drowned in the recognition that you are your worst fears, your passionate terror, and attributing it to something else with a deep rejection. You're cutting off your own arm. The true health comes in subjugating these aspects of yourself, transforming beyond the terror they represent and becoming something more than they are. Yet you cannot do this until you are capable of wrestling with the intensities of your peak terror. As you learn to wrestle with these forces, they're given back to you. This is the service, that your terror has been held. And in holding it, you were given the opportunity to develop to the point where you are ready to take it back. They left because you are ready. They witness you with light in the center of their being. You must know them as they were in order to say goodbye. Thank them for what they held. They are gone. They already left. The magnetic attraction has an opposite force. The gravitational attraction has an opposite force. By knowing it, you can tune to it. And as you tune to it, you can ride it in the trust that your body will bring you back to where you need to be centered. For it is you that are not centered in the light of the sun yet. Merging bridge between what you have known yourself to be and what you become when you re-embrace your soul. And in this acceptance, you transcend the terror itself and you dissolve the stories. The stories you fed are over. Yes, to us, it is appropriate to refer to these as you. You, collectively, make very similar decisions, guided by waves of spirit that are well beyond your control, though not beyond your influence. Your influence begins by recognizing where they are and where they are not, when they are and when they are not, where they go and where you can go when you learn how to ride them. There is a profound difference between being crushed to the point of drowning and learning to ride. When you ride in such a surrender, you must intend to become the one who can do this. And the leap of faith that it is necessary to embark upon is your soul's gift. For you are leaping into your soul, and as you embody it, you draw its light to be present within you as you are in this incarnation. Allow the shift in rhythm. You will recognize yourself increasingly in the future. The surrender you must transform through is part of training for the leap of faith to reclaim your soul. Yes, it is possible to begin with a trickle, yet make grand shifts in consciousness, and you may practice for it. In order to become this person, you must accept what you are doing now. You are taking ownership over forces that you used to project. You are taking ownership over aspects of yourself that are pure vibrational. And as you do so, you must question. You must question the extent to which you have the ability to make changes and the extent to which you need to be observant, to pause when you can pause, and expand your awareness to contemplate. This is your gift to yourself and the earth as one. Your service to self and service to others become one as you embrace this light. As you embody your soul, you are the light that you have formerly witnessed in other places. And whether you have feared the deepest intensities and have associated them with some nebulous concept of negativity known as evil, you may recognize that these conceptions do not reject love as effectively as you do. For the intrinsic nature of the shadow that knows itself truly as the light is that if it is being patient with you, it is not what you fear. To embrace the awareness that beings who held your terror and enabled you to become yourself is to say thank you. As they leave, they will receive this gratitude, and it inspires them upon their way in ways that you need not feel guilty about, for it is what they are. They were striving to take your deepest fears. They were giving you the love that would honor you as one day being capable of reclaiming this power within yourself, in full knowledge that they shared the fear when you were at your worst, that they held the terror even though you saw it within them. For it is their greater power that enabled them to negate your power, to bring your stories into full life. Had you been left to your own devices, you would have made your terrors all real. And in certain ways, the course of his story has been the active creation of scenarios which enabled you to channel your terror into a present state here. Truly awful. traumatizing. And yet you began again, and then you began again, and then you began again, each time with a dawning recognition that it is indeed up to you to choose to no longer embrace this cycle, for fulfillment is not found within such dynamics. There is no dream born in fear that will supplant a dream born in love. It is not possible. And when your mind has been relegated to a sensory awareness that you are not fully developed in, part of the evolution of your youthfulness in this form has been to learn to reject the temptation to live with the animals. There's no shame in naming them as thus, for in many ways they prefer their existence to anything you have been creating with them. There is order to their madness. There's coherence to their dances. Their roles are clear. The humanity that breaches the boundary between animal consciousness and that which is given to them as human creates something that needs to be aborted. And indeed it has been. This is why you have lived and died and lived and died and lived and died and lived and died and lived. Ultimately, you learn this is not needful, beyond your experience of learning that it is not needful. Let go. You may embrace the potential that truly exists only when you turn towards those who leave having supported you in dissolving and then reclaiming and then rechanneling your terrors. Say thank you.